glastonburysymposium.com. We'll see you there.
The Glastonbury Symposium Expand Your Horizons event is one of the UK's longest-running conferences on mysteries ancient and modern, freedom, cover-ups, spirituality and more. Join us in person or via live streaming for this year's event, 24th to 26th of July, to experience a life-changing weekend of extraordinary speakers in historic Glastonbury. Tickets and details are all available at glastonburysymposium.co.uk.
Introducing Eco Green Compost, black gold, engineered on a Lincolnshire family farm. Eco Green Compost isn't just dirt, it's a high-performance, 100% peat-free secret weapon for your garden. Our EGC is born from straw, willow and green cover, whilst our science-backed formula locks in carbon and feeds the soul of your soil. Expect incredible blooms and prize-winning veg, all whilst protecting our planet's vital peatlands. Ready to outshine the neighbours? Feed your passion with a professional's choice. Visit ecogreencompost.co.uk and grow the future today.
Clock, clock, wake up your mind. Moo, fill up your day. Oink, oink. Smart little bites that brighten your way. You're listening to Food for Thought Radio. Here at FFTradio.com. Clock, moo, oink. Food for Thought Radio. Here at FFTradio.com.
No, order, sit and leave.
This is the best political satire broadcast in the universe.
Order! I say to the honourable gentleman, give me this.
You are listening to Fockham Hall with Eric von Essex.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. And tonight we have who's just walked out, David, and we've also got Anorak, but we call him Paul tonight because Paul English isn't on the show. So good evening, Mr. Anorak. Good evening, our transport
Good evening,
minister.
Mr. Eric.
And very forward tonight. And I believe you've got a little something to say because you love Welsh transport, don't you? I think Welsh trains are yes.
Yes, I must promote them more.
Because they leave you a lot of time to admire their transport, several hours, in fact, waiting to see their transport. It builds up the excitement, doesn't it?
It does. I got to see Wolverhampton by night, and it's just as much of a shithole as it is by day.
Really? Yes. Well, that's marvellous. Yes. I think you came down to Edmonton,
you can't see the missiles at night.
That's right. Yes. I think Edmonton. I mean, were you sort of going on a shithole? Sort of, what is it? A non-tourist guide. Visit the shitholes of Britain. Yes, Wolverhampton.
Oh no! Don't do the touristy
bit.
Very rarely do the tourist. End up at Walthamstow as well. That's another lovely part of the world.
Right, and we've also got David. Good evening, David. You're busy consecrating there. So, are you with us?
Consecrating a bit of that and hopefully a bit of concentration as well. I've got a few bits of notes. You'll be so pleased. I'm going to bore you to death. But yeah, pleased to be here. Thank you for the invite. Can I just ask? So, does Anorak not like? Does Anorak not like the nickname Anorak? Because I quite like it. So we're calling him Paul when other.
I'm happy to be called Anorak.
When Paul English is gone.
Ah,
say again.
I'm happy. Call me Oi, call me Thingy. I answer to pretty much everything, to be honest.
I like Anorak.
Yeah, I don't mind the Anorak
anyway,
bit. That's fine. I am an Anorak by hobby, so yes, definitely.
Yes.
How's things in your world?
Mine. Mine. Okay. Hot like everywhere, but I don't know. Done a bit of traveling up and down the motorway, so slightly stressed. Eric caught me yesterday. We discussed this, and I was stuck in a car park as usual, just coming off the motorway. So But so wound down a bit, a few hours sleep, and I hope we can cover a bit of stuff tonight and have a good old chinwag between ourselves about what this whole life after death stuff is, because I'm sure Eric's got an interest in it, and I hope a few other people by the end of it might also have an interest in it. But I need a bit of shenanigans time to try and get a bit of the media going, because this is a new system to me. So
don't you worry, mate. We'll get through it. First of all, I've got an apology to make to people. I've had a fair number of people email me, and thank you very much for your emails. I believe in answering every email. If you haven't had an answer and it's a little bit of time gone by, please don't take offense. It's just I've been a bit swamped. So you'll get an answer, don't worry. But it just takes me time. Or give me a prompt. Say, "Oi, I haven't had an answer to my emails." Things like that. But it normally, I will get to it. Don't you worry. And Pink Planet has started off with why didn't the skeleton go to the party? He had nobody to go to. Yes, you've been opening the Christmas cracker box again, I can see. And Mike Mantis says, I've seen Wolverhampton by night on many occasions. That wasn't Exo, as Paul that said this. I totally agree. What a dump. Yes, yes, it can be. Mike Mantis said, Pink, they threw him out because he had a boner.
Well, that's taken about 4 minutes.
Yes.
To lower the tone.
It has. Sam said, no Fockham Hall show on Food for Thought Radio tonight. It should be on. We're plugged in, and I'll just have a check. I don't know. I think that Patrick and Paul are probably looking into it now. It's let's have a look, see what we got. Yeah, it's suddenly gone off of air. I don't know why.
Oh, that's a shame.
Hang on a minute. Right, here we go.
Explain to me, first of all, how this idea of survival after death works.
Well, I'm presenting the scientific case for survival after death. Therefore, it's very simple. It's got to be repeatable experiments.
Oh, he's gone off.
Oh, I've turned it off. Right, I don't know what we're doing. So I just uploaded that. I don't know. You're in control of what people see, so I just uploaded.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, get rid of it. Yeah.
We can put him on a little bit later. I could do it another way. Right, we're okay there. I don't know what's happened to Food for Thought Radio. I think that, hang on a minute, it's come back again. It should be going on now. I'll just check. Yep, it should be on now. So if anybody knows, I think there's a few technical difficulties. Yes, I got a gammy hand. There might have been some technical difficulties with it. So let's have a look there. Now, what we've got.
It hasn't been operated by Transport for Wales, is it?
It bloody well looks like it, doesn't it? You know. Hang on, I'll just try.
They should be able to hear this in about 3 hours' time then.
I think that's. I think I'll just cock something up. Here we go. Come on. All right, what have I done here? Maximize. Here we are. Oh, hang on. I've cocked something up again. Excuse me, people. Talk between yourselves while I sort this out. Yes, it's ballsed up. Oh, balls. I don't know. Right. Can I? That's it. We got it right now. Now that's better. Right. Let's get on with the show, shall we? Now, life after death. You know, I remember the Monty Python scene where they said we got the late Bishop of Durham here, and we've got someone else. Is there life after death? No, there's no life there. That was a sketch by Monty Python. But Michael Roll, I can see you got on there, David. I actually did an interview with Michael Roll soon after my dad passed away. And we did it over the telephone with a recorder. And I think the sound quality sounds it. Is Mike, do you know whether Michael Roll is still with us? Is he still with us?
Do you know, I actually tried the internet, and then I even tried my professional version of Chat GTP, and it said it traced him back to 2021, which of course was the bloody COVID era and stuff. And then since then they can't find any trace of him on the internet. So I presume perhaps he's gone. But I mean, he was. I mean, he must have been. Apparently, he was 77 in 2021. But I tried looking, but no idea. But when I first found out you spoke to him, I was really quite chuffed because he gave some fantastic interviews, and we can start with one here. But if you want to tell us a bit more about what you found out about the guy, because he really is the main scientific. And everyone goes, oh, and that's the key thing with this. And this is the sort of bit I want to sort of put over. Everyone goes, oh, life after death. This whole idea, or spiritualisms, or seances, witchcraft, Helen Duncan, all this sort of stuff. And people,
some people just switch off. They do what I call a Stephen Fry. Oh well, no, it's not scientifically proven. And they go into sort of the scientific religious mode. But no, what happened is. My dad and I were quite close, and he passed away. And soon after he did pass away, I was looking into this life after death type of thing, and I found Michael Roll, and it wasn't my best interview, I have to admit, because I was grieving my father, but it did help a lot, and he was absolutely fascinating. And what he said that in the 1990s, he actually made it possible that you could actually speak about the scientific evidence for life after death, not just saying, not the woo stuff. He's talking about the scientific evidence, and I think it was, I'm guessing, I know it's the early 90s. It was illegal to speak about the scientific evidence of life after death on mainstream television. Did you know that? And he changed the law.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Now,
if it wouldn't surprise me.
If anybody wants to see the interview, it's on my YouTube channel. Now, you used to be able to link onto it with my Holylandradio.com, but unfortunately, my website's down. It's still down. There's a major problem, and I'm still trying to sort it out. So normally you could go to my website and find the interview, but otherwise you can just go to Eric Von Essex, my YouTube channel, and after the show, of course, and you'll hear the interview, because it's radio, with Michael Roll, an amazing man, and his interview did help, and it was very, very enlightening. And I think he said that what was it now? Marconi was not the first to do a radio transmission; it was another person, but Marconi got the credit. So that's something else.
All sorts of competition going on. Where those top ends with all those wacky inventors. I'm sure there's a bit of competition and a bit of stuff. But let's say, Eric, what did is the one thing that he did, and this has all been proven and true. So as well as he worked with the sort of paranormal societies, but the science side and maths and all sorts of things about how you could prove mathematically and in other ways life after death. But the one thing, I think we mentioned this last time we mentioned, Eric, is that he actually did all these series of, it's like you mentioned your father passed away. I don't know what sort of things you'd want to do then, but some people were prepared to give their bodies at moment of death to be, it sounds bizarre, to be weighed. And he found that the soul weighed. So this is true. Everyone thinks, oh, the soul's this ethereal thing. No, people's bodies at the moment of death, or when the soul passed, whatever, they found out the point when that was. These 10 or 20, don't know how many, so many people had actually given the rights or to sort of record all this stuff properly, scientifically. And he found the soul actually weighs something like 1.5 grams, which sounds bizarre. It sounds bizarre, but no, you look into this.
I'm saying that, yeah. Yeah, that's quite amazing, isn't it? And have you seen on our, this was before AI, it's a very, very old video, about 15, 16 years old, where I think it might have been a security camera, and there was a mouse trap, and a mouse got killed, the trap went, and you could see like the spirit of the mouse leaving the body.
Wow, never seen that.
That is quite something, and it was before AI. It couldn't have been done by AI, or it might have been special effects. I don't know, but because this is what the downside of AI, they're faking so much now that you don't know what's real, and it's getting better and better. Because I've noticed that there's some pictures of the First World War, and those photographs are too clean. They're too accurate to be originals. They're too in focus because the cameras weren't as good as later cameras, you know. Now, this is Nathan Lucius has come along and said, surely if the soul weighs anything, then it is physical. Good point. Then we have a problem with the spiritual. That's a bloody good point. Any ideas on that, mate?
Yeah, it is.
It is, isn't it, Paul and David? You know, I mean,
I would think it all doesn't at that point. So when it's the soul, does it? It's like quantum physics, isn't it? Sort of goes in between, like they say a particle can be like a wavicle. So maybe the soul at that point is partly physical because it's leaving, it's going to the etheric spirit realm. So maybe it's a bit of both. It's like Schrodinger's cat, isn't it? I don't know. That's just
Yes, I mean, what do you think about these children, especially in India? And they found that there's children in America as well. That there was one that was supposed to be the reincarnation of a World War II pilot, and he got into the cockpit of a plane. They didn't allow him to fly, obviously, but he knew all the controls and everything off by heart, and he could barely read. He was a very young nipper, but it was.
There's many cases like that. There's many cases where kids suddenly children know the whole lives of, and it's strangely, Eric, you brought it up. It's there's a hell of a lot of, for some reason, aircraft pilots, and they know all about. They know the routes they took. I mean, that's crazy, and that's and that is that life after death. Is that a soul jumping into another body? Is it a shared memory? I mean, this is a wacky area, but it's a fascinating one, and I'm surprised more people aren't sort of fascinated by it, really.
Well, the same here. I mean, some people say, "Oh, it's woo-woo stuff." I mean, my mother, she would jump back at that. I brought a girlfriend at the time. She got me a crystal. It's a nice crystal. Get that out of the house. Get me out. Don't get that near me. And all that sort. She was very frightened of things like that. I don't know why. Some people are. I think that it's a fear they have. I don't know why.
Well, the thing is, I was going to say, if the soul must, obviously, whatever the soul is, we obviously all remember previous lives, or we know a place even though we've never set foot in places before, we recognize them, and we can link with when things get injured, or when we see, like I said before, with regards to the like war films and stuff, where you see somebody getting shot, and you can relate to it as though you were there. So it's possible that maybe I don't know. I wouldn't think the soul would have any weight to it. But
well, do you remember that kid, that child who I don't like saying kid, sorry, it's a child in this country, in Britain, who we know we've got to be careful with Britain now because if you see Paul English's show, so but he was in this country and he was talking about submarines at the turn of the century, and he's going into all the technical details. And historians said, "Oh no, we didn't have submarines like that. He's making it all up, you know." And he was only very, very young. I don't think he was literate. He was only about 2 or 3 years of age. And then suddenly a historian turned round and said, "Hang on, he's right." And he named the submarine and everything, and they looked it up, and he was spot on. And there's no way he could have known that. No way, But Pink Planet has said, "Sweet, there was elderly golden retriever who died on settee in owner's living room, and their CCTV showed spirit leaving." And Mike Mantis said, and this is a good one, according to Stephen A. Young, the PhD nuclear physicist, quantum physics is complete bollocks. Now, what's this? I don't know. Hang on. Don't we ask you, what is this to do with the spirit world? So, answers, please, on a postcard. Antarctica Circle 66.6 degrees south. Arctic Circle 66.6 degrees north. Yes. Yes. So
interesting choice of numbers, though, isn't it? 666.
And Barefoot Foreigner.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, just quickly chuck a question out there. I'm trying to work out whether the sun is actually moving a lot faster. We keep talking about timelines, and that the time is out.
Yes.
I was out and about on Thursday in West Bromwich, amongst other places, shitholes everywhere. But where I was stood, the location I was taking pictures, I know is available for about 2 hours. Now, it was a full sun day, and I was stood in the shadow of a a lamppost, basically. It was the head of the lamppost. I stood in its shade. And within half an hour, it had travelled about 8 foot. Now, I would have expected that to take probably about 2 hours to get itself from where I started to the end of the curb or to the end of the path.
You've got a good
But
point.
he didn't. It was literally half an hour. I've checked the time. I was taking photos as it was moving across, and you could almost physically see the shadow moving. So if they've sped the sun up, that might explain why we keep seeing the sun and moon in the sky at the same time, as one's supposed to be the night luminary and one's supposed to be the day luminary. And it might also explain why we've looked at the clocks before now and they've been 5 hours out. So
That was
my
weird
question
the other week,
is anybody
wasn't
else
it?
noticing this?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And then
It,
yeah, sorry, mate, carry on.
I was going to say, because the picture, this one shot I look at in West Brom, it's available from about 11:30ish to about 2. But by 12 o'clock, the shot was not available, as in where the sun would be in line with the buses. So something's definitely changed. Something is I don't know what they've changed, how they've changed it, but something has changed here, definitely.
And my plants in my garden, I mean, I'm watering them, but they're just literally going brown and just killing over and dying, even though I'm watering them. Now, this is an interesting one, which we can cover, David, as well. I don't know if you're into this. Reverse saying this is reverse speech made me reconsider things about the collective unconsciousness. The voice of the heart, the voice of the soul. Yes, reverse speech is interesting. For those of you who don't know anything about it, very briefly, do you remember the old Sony Walkman? Somebody had a Sony Walkman, and they dropped it on the floor, damaged it, and they they repaired it, but they did it wrong, and it played the tape back instead of forwards. But when they played the tape back, they found that he had a recording of some, I believe, MP talking, and he could hear some very strange things from reverse speech, and he heard the truth. And I think it was the Australian Prime Minister at that time, because it was Australia that did this, said, someone said, "What are you going to do this weekend?" And when they played the answer back, it said, "I'm going to have some pot." Interesting. Interesting. But
someone do that with one of Obama's speeches, where when it was played backwards, it says "Thank you, Satan."
Yes, I've heard that. Now, David, moving forward, would you like to say more about Michael Roll, or where do you wish to go with which direction do we want to go with spirits and things? Because we
look. I mean, I want to be led by. I don't know. I want to be led by you. So look. Let me summarize it. I've got a video by Michael Roll, which is only 2 minutes long, and he goes into it's the scientific, and he basically makes a case, and he answers a lot of the questions about why people ask about what goes on. What goes on at these seances, and so we can play that. But,
okay.
But let me just say this. But then you need to guide me, because essentially what happened to me is based on the fact that I was invited to do a UFO talk in Harrogate. They liked the talk I gave, and then I got called back. And I got called back by the guy. It's a spiritualist church in Harrogate. Lovely, only a small gathering of people. And the guy that ran the event for the spiritualist church basically said, "Do you want to come to a very special closed event?" And this was like a spiritualist seance, and I wasn't into the area. I was like a UFO person, and all this, a bit into consciousness and this sort of thing, into psychedelics and that sort of thing. But I just thought it was a load of sort of old ladies sat around just having cups of tea and pretending they heard the voice of Uncle Arthur. Honestly, I didn't think anymore. It really wasn't my thing. So what happened is I ended up turning up there 4 or 5 times, and what happened blew my mind. I mean, it blew my mind. So I can go into this for hours, but I don't want to bore people. I've got some recordings of what went on at the event.
Brilliant.
And it got to the point where we had a fully materialized pair of arms that went round to the room, and I shook hands with this, and that blew my mind. I mean, because it was like it was a plasma hand, but it was fully warm. And it came out of the weird red darkness. I'll explain how they set it up, what they do, but it's some wacky shit. Sorry, some wacky stuff went on there, but it was an amazing. It blew my mind. One of the best periods of my life, really. That year,
really?
that was like 2014, 2015. So up to you. If you can, let's play this Michael Roll. It's 2 minutes long, and that's it.
Beforehand, I'd like to back that up, because I went out with a girlfriend many years ago when I was very young, and her father was in, I think it was Palestine, just after the war. He was conscripted just after the war. And he told me some stories that were fascinating. And he went, he made friends. There's a lot here, it's a long time ago. There's a lot that I can't remember. I think it was the Bedouin, but I could be wrong. Okay. But I'll give you the outline of the story. He went to a tribe, shall we say, in the desert. He made friends with them. He said they're very polite, nice people. And he saw this ceremony, and he said he wasn't drunk. His mates weren't drunk. They were quite sober, because I think they're probably amongst Muslims that don't drink. So they're sitting around, and he saw this couple dancing around, and they transformed into like wolf type figures and then transformed back to human. And him and his mates were sitting there with their bottom jaws almost fitting the floor. They'd never seen anything like it. And that's what he told me. He said, you can laugh at me or anything like that, but that's what I saw. He'd never forgotten it. He said these people, they certainly knew what it was they were doing. Quite interesting. But anyway, shall we go on with Michael Roll? We'll pull Michael Roll over. Here we go. Come on, Michael. On you come.
I hope it's loud enough. See if you can boost the volume. I don't know what you can do, but I hope it's loud enough.
I'm just trying to do something. Get him on this. Oh, bloody!
I can click it and press play, but I don't know. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah. Well, hang on a minute. I want to get him to the center of the screen.
All right.
Sorry, mate. What's that? Maximize. That's it. Okay. Far away.
Oh, right. Oh, God, let's get it back. Right, let's get back. I hope it's about there.
Okay.
Right now, is that caching on your side? I don't know why. That's a fully
it's frozen.
That's an MP4. Yeah. Well, here we go. Right. Go. Oh, the volume is yours.
It's okay. I'll deal with the volume.
Well, I'm presenting the scientific case.
The subtitles. What a shame, man.
Therefore, it's very simple. It's got to be repeatable experiments under laboratory conditions.
I've got the volume up as much as I can.
The mathematical theory. Yeah. That's all I'm interested in. I don't want to know anything about beliefs.
In chat, can you hear this in chat, please?
But what is it about this world? What
I can only just about hear it, Chris, but obviously
live
the text
on
is
after death.
just good to read.
Do they have bodies? Do they speak? Do they think? Do they feel? Do they feel hungry? Are they ill?
That's a very good question. It's the $65,000 question. But when you take part in experiments, and I'm talking about...
I can play it on YouTube if you want, but I'll have to move over to my screen. I've got a YouTube on here, which will play it properly.
In front of the scientists,
I think that would be better, because I can just about hear it, and I got it on maximum volume.
Right.
Okay, I'll just minimise it.
Yeah. Pause it if you can.
Okay, I can.
I think I have to. Do I have to do this? I have to go allow. Right. So select window or screen. Hang on,
right. I can take him off. Do you want me to take it, or no? I think.
Right. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, I've got it. Right. Oh, right. It's saying allow. Right. Right. It says now I'm sharing Firefox. Well, that's it. Can you bring me in now? If I just go to this, this is Michael Roll. It should be louder. Right. I can't see now. So if you can see my.
Hang on, can you see maximize it? Yeah, I just maximize. Here it is. Right. Okay. Far away.
Right. Try that.
Can't hear a bleeding thing now.
I've got it. My audio's fine, my side, so I don't know.
No, nothing here. It's dead as a dodo.
Oh, bloody hell, man.
Right. Look, I'll tell you what we do. Right. Turn this off, and I will do this through another method. So I will. Right. I'll have to boot. Remove source. Right. There we go. Right. What we'll do, if you'd like to speak to Anorak or the audience or whatever, I will bring this up, Michael Roll, through YouTube, through the caption scanner. So I'll do it that way. Okay. So just
do you want me to send the URL to you, the link?
Yeah, just one moment. I'll just try and see if I can get it without that. It's a bit difficult. Right, let's have a look. I'm just going into YouTube at the moment, and I might go straight onto it.
Yeah, you see the chat's different to the last to the Rumble thing here, so I don't know how to send you anything.
I've got it. I've got it.
All
I got it.
messages. There we go.
Right, just one moment.
The first 2 minutes, basically.
Oh, I've got a bloody right. Trouble is, I've got loads of bloody adverts coming on at the moment. Right, skip.
It's bound to be adverts for something we've talked about.
Right, skip me the bush kangaroo. Right, what I'm going to do now is sorry, people in the audience. This must be very tedious and boring. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share this on the screen. And I pressed the wrong button. Here we go. And Michael Roll interview, share. It should be. Is it share? Can you see it? Can you see it on the screen? Oh, hang on.
In the little corner at the moment.
Yeah, hang on. Maximize. There it is. And I'm going to start playing it now.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Good. Explain to me, first of all, how this idea of survival after death works.
Well, I'm presenting the scientific case for survival after death. Therefore, it's very simple. It's got to be repeatable experiments under laboratory conditions backed up with a mathematical theory. That's all I'm interested in. I don't want to know anything about beliefs, just stone cold scientific facts.
But what is it about this world? What form do people take when they live on after death? Do they have bodies? Do they speak? Do they think? Do they feel? Do they feel hungry? Are they ill?
That's a very good question. It's the $65,000 question. But when you take part in experiments, and I'm talking about repeatable experiments under laboratory conditions, people who once lived on Earth fully materialize in front of the scientists, and they fire in all these questions at them when they're fully materialized in front of them, and they're as solid as you and me. So the basic thing is that the physical body packs in, as we all know, but I'm 100% behind the religionists when they say we have a soul that separates from the dead physical body and the mind separates from the dead brain. But people who come back prove that they've still got bodies, but operating at a different frequency. Obviously, our physical bodies are made of protons, neutrons, and electrons, subatomic particles, but the soul that separates from the physical body must be made of much finer substance than our physical subatomic particles. Because for a short time on it, they're able to come back to Earth, people who once lived on Earth, and prove that they're still alive. Just the same as the story of Jesus when he said, catch hold of me, feel me. We are able to do that at our experiments.
Now, are we speaking from experience? Have you actually observed these people who have returned to Earth after they have died?
I don't think I could have doing what I'm doing if I hadn't had that experience. I would have packed in years ago. But in 1983, I came across one of these experiments, and I was invited to take part. And my father, who I love very much, died in 1967, but he fully materialized in 1983, giving me the crushing personal proof that he had survived death. So that was then my mission, to let people know about these discoveries in physics that haven't been generally available to everybody, but they are now, Lou, because of the internet. Anybody
I sort of finished it there, Eric. Just sort of tails off
then.
Okay, then. So I'll finish now.
The path of orthodox science, which starts from the base of when you're dead, you're dead.
Here we go, and I'll just maximize.
Has to be said that if you were in a room and somebody turned up that had died 20 years ago, you'd probably run a mile. I was like,
well, actually,
20 years ago.
Anurag, I was going to ask that, and for both of you, I'm quite interested. So I mean, you can name any. It doesn't have to be a family member; it could be a friend. But if that, so he said his father died in 1967, and I think it was 83. Then he had a full materialization, and I don't know how much preparation he got, but I mean, the guy, he's a truthful guy. He's done all this stuff for years. So I mean, if that happened to either of you, what would that sort of thing shock you? Or do you think you'd die of fright, or would you be intrigued? I'm always interested in it's the same when I ask people about if they spotted a UFO. I'm intrigued how people think of these things. So I'm interested what you two would think if something happened to a friend or a family member turned up in a full And it is, and I'll tell you, it's more like a plasma body that these spirits sort of turn up in, but they are virtually solid. So I'm interested. What would you say to that?
Personally, I suppose if the individual consider, obviously my dad died Boxing Day 24, so if he turned up in another form, or if he turned up whenever, and obviously I never had any issues with him in that respect as an individual, so I don't think I'd be afraid of him. What my mum and dad had told me when my dad was still here was that my nan, when her husband died and when her brother died, they both came and spoke to her at the bottom of the bed and told them that they were both okay.
Yeah, that's quite.
Something,
That's a nice part of death though, when people do that, and there's a lot of people that happens a lot, where people sort of go and reassure people and stuff like that. So I find that quite fascinating. I don't know what Chris, what would you say if something happened to you like that? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I give you an example. It wouldn't frighten me because I think your loved ones do it in a way where they speak through other people and things like that. But my mother had an aunt. Yes, it was an auntie who had a very sad life, and she was very spiritually minded because the poor woman lost her husband during the war and left her with a young son. Her son was kidnapped soon after she heard the loss of her husband, so she had it pretty tough. And my mother got notice that her auntie had passed away when my sister was on holiday with her future husband in France. And I think my sister was particularly close to my mum's auntie. And when my sister came back, my mum sort of said, I've got some news to tell you. She said, yeah, I know Aunt Ethel's died. And this was before the days of the internet and mobile phones. She said, how on earth did you know? She said, because Aunt Ethel, she was on my mind throughout the holiday. And I just had this feeling that she'd died. Now, isn't that weird? That really is very, very odd. And do you get, like, I know it sounds a bit weird, the sense of a loved one by their sort of like their odor, different odors and things like that? I mean, a couple of years back, got this strong smell of my mum's scent come up. It's, I wasn't near any women that was wearing scent of a similar type. I was at home actually. This really strong smell of her scent came out, and I was particularly down at the time, so which was a bit strange, But I get the feeling in my dad's presence around a lot because we were very close. We were basically like twins. So, but it's sort of interesting. But that was interesting what Michael Roll said about his father materializing. Now, I mean, I've been along to a spiritualist church, and I've had spiritual healing, as I've said many times before. And believe me, it works. I mean, have you had spiritual healing, David or Paul?
I haven't, but I do. I've been to several spiritualist churches. I know a few of the groups, but I've been to places where they do readings, so it's like a mediumship, and that's more the thing. I would, if I needed sort of healing for something else, I wouldn't hesitate in doing that. But it's interesting because what's interesting, you've got the spiritualist church with, like you say, have healing. They sometimes they do do a cup of tea, a slice of cake, and a medium reading. But this seance thing is like this sort of separate, almost underground thing, and so it's a very strange mixture where you've got the sort of two going on. Let me just say this, and then if Paul wants to come in, perhaps he can. But what you mentioned smell there, Eric, and do you know why that's absolutely key and interesting? Because smell is the most what's the word used? It's the most evocative, neurologically, is that the word?
Neurologically, yeah.
Yeah, smell is the most evocative, it's the most powerful. So more than any other sense, I suppose we can see, let's say, a picture, and then we, like you say, have a flash of a loved one or a flash of something they said to you. But actually, smell is the most evocative. It's the one the brain goes immediately to and can then conjure up the most amazing detail from, because there's something's wired with our sense of smell.
That's right.
And yeah, so it's interesting you mention that.
My granddad as well. Sorry, carry on, mate.
Have either of you noticed that I noticed this when my dad died, that you start and you'll see robins in
Yeah.
close
Oh,
proximity
yes.
to where you are.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I remember literally it was the day after my dad died. In fact, it was the day my dad died. I was walking down to their bungalow, my mum and dad's bungalow, and a robin came and sat on the fence as I was walking. I just said hello to him as I always do. And the amount of robins I've seen in close proximity to where my dad died, and the amount of people that when you speak to them as well, and I'll say, yeah, I've had the same experience where a robin will come and land on your fence and just sit there and do the. I mean, obviously this with the soul disappearing off. It's possible that maybe that's the next stage. We're going to become robins or birds or other
Well,
beings. I guess we don't necessarily come back as a person experience or a human experience. It's possible you come back as something else or carry
Yeah,
on to do something
yeah,
different.
you don't want to come back as a snail or a slug, though, do you? Really, and that's
Not
not that.
really.
I mean, that's all the Buddhist stuff, isn't it? They're like, oh, if
Yes.
you've done bad, you'll come back as who wants to be a slug? I mean, what a bad life that is. I want to be a slug.
Well, precisely. And I mean, what got me is, do you remember the raid safety campaign for children in the 70s? What did they have? A hedgehog and a squirrel. Not exactly the most wisest choice of animals, is it, really? I mean, you know.
Did they hold him across the road? Was that them? Or I get confused the Green Cross Code paedophile man. Sorry, the Green Cross Code man. I don't know.
Yeah, what was it now? Tufty the squirrel.
Tufty. All right,
Helping
there you go.
children
Yeah,
to
that's
cross
the
the
one.
road. Yes,
Yeah.
I think you got the ordinary flat rate, you know. But now
Very
Barefoot
good.
Forager says, Nathan and I went to Glastonbury recently. Hang on a minute. Outside the Alistair Crowley Museum. Bloody Nora.
Was he there? Was Alistair? Alistair was at Glastonbury. Was he raving on? Was he right with his demonic mates and stuff?
Well, it was a museum. There was the
right.
most evil cat I've ever seen. I love cats. Not natural, in my opinion.
Cats.
Well,
Cats are lovely natural.
I've got a funny feeling. I went to Shaw's Corner, which is in Hertfordshire, not far from where I live. And I've only been there once. And George Bernard Shaw, not exactly the nicest of people, because he advocated every couple of years going before a board and giving you a case to carry on living. And if you couldn't give them a very good case, you'd be done in to cut the population. That's not very nice. And he's quite serious about it. But anyway, I went to Shaw's Corner and I couldn't wait to get away from the place. There was something evil about Shaw's Corner. And I think George Bernard Shaw was evil. I really do. He was not a nice
I've got
man.
to say, I have been to Glastonbury. I've been to it twice actually, and been stopped there for a couple of nights with my ex-partner, as it were, at the time, and we both of us within 24 hours had had a fall. So we were in the place we were stopping at. The owner or somebody had come in and left the gate open. This was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went out to go and shut the gate. And when I came back in, I got to the steps to go walk back down to where we were sleeping, and I literally lost my balance. And I never ever lose balance, or very rarely lose balance. But also within the Glastonbury area, when you get to Glastonbury, there's always a lot of head pressure there. Now I took that down as being down to either the crystals that are in there, because there's a lot of crystal shops there that sell obviously various crystal types, but also you get a lot of the I can't think what are them things that you burn.
Oh,
you light and
incense.
burn,
Incense.
Joss sticks.
Incense. Yeah, that affects how I feel a lot of the time, and obviously you got a lot of them within the Glastonbury area as well. Well, whether it's actually from them or whether it's just the actual town itself, I don't know. But yeah,
well, I mean,
it's a strange place.
Yeah, well, Glastonbury's strange, but maybe you tripped over a ley line, because Glastonbury's full of the things, isn't it? You may have tripped over a ley line. Who knows? Those are strange things that apparently manifest. And apparently, get this, MI5. This is according to a guy called Tim Riffat, who had a few friends in there, and he claimed that MI5 had a black magic section that used to try and shut down ley lines. So our hippie white witches, probably from Glastonbury and elsewhere, would go and try and get these ley lines energized again. I believe in these things. I don't know about all this MI5 stuff, but apparently MI5 have a place. They went and shut them down. Who knows?
But there's two types. There's ley lines and energy lines. And energy, they're both very different.
I had no idea there's a difference.
Yes, the ley lines were an ancient mapping system, but the energy lines are totally different, and they generally go along the same sort of course, but they are very different. They actually produce energy, and they were go around healing stones and things like that because people used to rub their backs and whatever up against stones at a certain time of the day when they release massive amounts of energy, and they were called healing stones. The American Indians did it as well, and ancient Britons used to do it down in Cornwall and Glastonbury area and places like that. So there is a big difference between the two. But I'm not far from a ley line. I don't think many people are really, but there's one that goes right away from Glastonbury, right the way through. I think it goes to Royston and across to Newmarket that way.
Well, I think these ley lines are actually still. I don't mean they're actually observable, and what I mean by that is, so like for example, the central London Hyde Park, for example, is apparently a big ley line. Because I mean, let's be honest, with all that opportunity to build houses and make a fortune on housing, you'd use it when you. So they obviously keep these back, not because they want to keep the greenery there, because if they wanted to do that, they'd keep the greenery in many places. And they also reckon the northeast corridor in America. I think Patrick, we were talking about this, where you've got New York, Washington, Boston, all basically in a diagonal line up the northeast side of America. And a lot of these, I think, are ley lines. But they label them up, and obviously whatever they do with them. But yeah, Hyde Park, I believe, is one of them.
Really?
And I suspect the Central Park in New York is as well.
Wouldn't surprise me. It's the same as, isn't it? The same. I mean, it's like Eric said, there's probably energy lines and ley lines, but it's interesting. Like they built America's called the New Atlantis, built on all these things, and they put these those pointed phallic monuments up at certain places and things. So, but over here, I mean, when I moved up to this part of West Yorkshire, I moved here actually for a lot of the stuff to do with that sort of energy, but more in a different area. And yeah, I went looking around in all the old bookshops, and we got 2 or 3 really old ones around here. And this was just, well, the internet was going then, but I couldn't find much on the internet either. I tried to find a local map that had ley line routes on, and I couldn't find it. They're really hard to find. And again, then you're asking, well, actually, who has created these ley lines or energy lines, and how have they mapped them, and how true are they? Some people, I think, use those. What's those pair of not cables? What's the
divining rods? Yeah.
Yeah,
But
those
it
things.
was Alfred Watkins, wasn't it? The old straight line or track, was it? He wrote it in the.
Or did he? There was a guy that looked like Percy Thrower that used to do that. Is that who you mean? It's someone like him?
No. This chap. He was the first to. I don't know, discover ley lines, and he wrote a book. I'm not sure you can get it on PDF or whether you can still get it. I think it was called either the Old Straight Track or the Old Straight something or other, and it's Alfred Watkins. I think it was the old.
Write that down now because
Alfred Watkins. That's it's the Old Straight Track, I think.
I'll find it.
So somebody will correct me in chat, I'm sure, if I'm wrong. But Barefoot Forager has said, my friend who lives in Tolkien's old house in Avebury on the Michael ley line goes around the country unsticking the energy when it gets stopped by scaffolding around churches.
Scaffolding or MI5
ley
makes
lines.
sense.
Yes, they're all on. That's right. The weirdest place is when my sister and brother-in-law used to live, and that's Royston, because that's where 2 ley lines cross, apparently. And that is a very strange.
Is there a church or a cathedral in the middle of Royston?
Sorry? There's no cathedral.
Is there a large church or castle or anything like that?
There must be a church there. I can't remember one, but there is the Royston Hole, and I've been down there, and it's a mystery who dug it and why. The steps going down there, and there's graffiti or stuff all the way around this hole, and it's a peculiar type of thing. There's where the word Catherine wheel comes from, and apparently it was
a torture thing.
That's right. Yes, it was it Queen Catherine or something that was put on this wheel, and that's down there. But there was a woman who lived in Royston called Mrs. Beach. She was a piano teacher, and lovely old dear. And she, when where I used to live, she used to come all the way down. I think it was Maidenhead. She used to, because her husband worked for Johnson Matthey, and he moved with the firm, and she used to go all the way from Maidenhead to North London to teach she used to have a lot of children she used to teach the piano to, and she lost her son when he was very, very young, and his son's name was David, and that's my middle name, and she always used to call me Davy because I reminded her of her son. And as again, she's a lovely woman. She was very, very highly religious. She used to go to church regularly, and when she lost her son, she became an atheist overnight. Absolutely overnight. She just walked away from the church. She said, "If there's God above, he wouldn't have taken my child away from me." And they tried to then she'd know, and she became a complete atheist. But this woman, she in Royston used to walk, she said, which is a heck of a way, through tunnels to Harlow in Essex. It must be a good, 40, 50 miles? Has anybody else heard
It's been
about that?
desperate.
Well, they go all to Harlow.
I haven't
bloody
heard
hell.
about it, but of all
Yeah.
the places you get to walk to,
Harlow.
yeah, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's interesting though. Just slightly off. Still on the same subject. When I was talking about Glastonbury,
Mhm.
well, either of you been down? Either of you both been? Have either of you been down to Wells? Because Wells has got an absolutely humongous cathedral.
Cathedral,
It's a very,
beautiful,
very tiny
beautiful.
city.
Really?
It's not too far a distance from Glastonbury, which makes you wonder if that's the reason why it's such a vast cathedral, because it literally dominates the entire city. And I mean, Wells as a city is tiny, but this cathedral in the middle of it is absolutely vast.
Yeah, you often hear the whole area. It's called Glastonbury Wells. Is like referred to as the whole area. It's a fantastic area. It's amazing stuff around there.
Interesting, yeah.
Now, Barefoot
Yeah,
Foreigner,
interesting.
I agree with you, Barefoot Foreigner. There are loads of houses that I can't stay in. I'm exactly the same. Too evil. I can sense it. You must be hypersensitive as well. And I don't mean that in an offensive way. Castles are the worst for me. And I think that is sometimes if you're far from a happy childhood, you don't have a very, and you are hypersensitive, there are a lot of advantages to being hypersensitive as well as disadvantage, but there are some advantages, and that is you can sense things that other people can't. And I don't mean that in an elitist or smug sort of way. And Barefoot Foreigner went on to say the Witchcraft Museum in Cornwall was massive head pressure. That's interesting.
Interesting. Did you just pop in there for a spell then?
Oh, bloody hell. That's a classic, that is. Well, in Waltham Abbey, there's a shop which is opposite Miles's shop, called White Witch, which sells all witch stuff. And it's not as creepy as all that, really. It's quite a nice feeling in there. I go in there, get quite good vibes. So, but she's had holy water thrown in there, the lot. But she said it's not like that. She said because we're into peace and healing and that sort of stuff. Because there's black witchcraft as well as white witchcraft. So, yeah. And what's your view, David? White witchcraft and black witchcraft?
Sorry, I'm trying to load my next file.
I'm sorry, mate. I didn't realise that. I'm terribly sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's just I can't. Right. Well, look, I don't know. I think it's the same as we've got generally have good people in the world and not good people, and and it's the same with the wider society. But I don't know. What interests me is I think we don't the witches today. I mean, that's the same thing with all the Helen Duncan stuff, wasn't it? She's like, it's called. She was the last witch. She was a medium, and she was everyone thought she was a witch. Yeah, and yet now, I think the demons are in the banking in the black witches and the black art are in the banking industry, and then there are intelligence agencies and all that. So we sort of changed our definition of what these sort of whole idea. We're not in the medieval or in the Victorian era where they still thought about some of this stuff. So I don't know. I think we've changed our we're much more complex world now compared to what they used to just think of white and black stuff. And now, and also, of course, the really negative types, the black arts, they're very good at half their job is to disguise what they do. And so often you think, oh my God, what they're doing is wonderful and good. It's like Bill Gates with the thingy, wasn't it? That that was all hidden for our good. And some people see through it, some people didn't. I've just thought, because the audio didn't play, I've tried to put all this stuff together, and now I've just thought, is it going to play now? I've got
I don't know. There's one way of finding out.
Well, but what a shame. If not, we might have to just do all this next time, I'm afraid, because because what the files I've got, they've not been played sort of before, and I think they're meant to be private, but the group has actually closed down a few years ago, because I think basically there was two people involved, a guy called Terry and Kath from Harriet, and they I think one of them died, but so it's okay now to play this stuff, because it's quite personal. It's quite personal. They go into sort of people's backgrounds and all this stuff. I'm sort of, I don't know whether we should just have a go at playing it and just see, and just see if it works.
Let's see if it works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, we just got to see if we can do it. Before we do, Pink Planet has just put me straight, actually, on White Witch. I got it wrong, apparently. She said, White Witch shop, Debbie, there's the lady that owns it. Yeah, I've spoken to Debbie. Debbie is lovely. She's just a witch, Eric, not white or black. Worship nature. I didn't know that. And she went on to say she called it White Witch to make it more appealing. Well, there we go. And Sam says, so many mysteries about the ancient builders. I love archaeological anomalies. I heard that churches were often built on older sites. That's right. History of humanity is full of lies. I agree with you. Anyway, David, do you want to, should we try and play that now? How are you going to do it? Are you going to bring it in through the studio, or?
Yeah, I think I'll try a screen share, and let's see what we can
Let's try a
do
screen
with that.
share. Okay.
Yeah, and see if it works. But I'll just set the scene a bit, because that's interesting. And and both you and Paul come in and ask, because I'd rather you ask questions or add your comments in, because I really don't know how interested you are, if I'm going in the right direction. But
don't worry, carry on.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got to imagine. So I mean, you two and people listening will have an idea for what's. So is it a spiritualist sort of gathering? And then if most people know what a spiritualist church is, and the sort of people that go there, or is it a séance, or is it a witches gathering? And it's all these things and none of these things. So essentially, this group, and what here's the thing that I found most interesting was, and it comes down to Helen Duncan, who have we covered? Eric, did we cover Helen here before? Did we cover it?
I think we did, because she was killed, wasn't she, in 1956, when the police stormed in. When
she got ill when they raided her in Nottingham. Yeah, she got really ill and never recovered.
When she's in deep trance. No, she's in deep trance, and you cannot disturb a person when they're in deep trance. It kills them. But one good thing that Churchill did, just one good thing, because I can't stand the bastard, and that was when Helen Duncan was arrested for witchcraft, he went ballistic and got her released and repealed the Witchcraft Act. Because up until the 1940s, I don't know when she did get arrested, was it about 42, 43? You could get arrested for witchcraft, and he repealed it.
But a lot of that was because Churchill was scared of her, because what she'd done, as you know, what she'd done before that is gone to Plymouth. Yeah, and done and done a reading on the hood, the battleship, and found before the Admiralty didn't disclose it for about a month, and they pretended, it's just out at sea, still doing its naval war mission. No, it'd been shot to and it had gone to the bottom of the ocean, and she'd got one of the sailors in Plymouth, whose family she was linked to at this seance setting, then spoke to her and said, I'm at the bottom of the sea, say hello to my mum, all this weird stuff. I mean, I love it. It's fantastic. And Churchill heard about this and it's like, oh my God, that she could ruin the course of World War II for us. And so he was both really scared of her, but also I think he realized that she wasn't a witch. And so he actually tried to support her at the end when she went to court, but then he didn't do enough to stop the bloody Nottingham police going in there. And as you say, here we come to a really interesting point that links from Helen Duncan to what goes on at these seances. Because Helen Duncan, as Eric said, was essentially, she was the sort that most of you know this. Do both of you? I mean, Paul and Eric, have you heard of ectoplasm?
Yes, ectoplasm.
I've heard of it. I couldn't tell me what it is.
I'm just interested because that tells me a lot, right? So ectoplasm is the material that people will know when they used to see, and most of the pictures are fake, right? Of people spewing this stuff out. It's like this plasma sort of thing, and essentially this is the energy format that the medium in the old days used to manage to produce, that then allowed certain things to manifest. And there were true cases, but most of the pictures seen in the Victorian era and stuff were just fake, and people, they used this thing called cheesecloth, stuffed it in people's, and it looked very good. Of course, it's black and white photos and things. But what's interesting is because of the damage. So when that happened to Helen Duncan, she ended up in hospital, never recovered. The police burst in. Was in the full moment of producing this ectoplasm, and it's not just that. It's as the medium is in that moment. They're in a darkened cabinet, just as you'll find out now that I was in a darkened room with a very small red light on. That essentially then the energy that they've amassed then goes shooting back into the medium's body, and so she got burns everywhere. Ended up in Nottingham Hospital. I think she got out, but then she just her health went downhill. And Churchill didn't do enough. I don't know if he's in office by then. It doesn't matter. But the point is,
no, this was in 56. I'm not sure whether I think it was 56. No, it wasn't. It was. I can't remember his name now, but that was a year of the Suez Crisis. He was out of office then.
Yeah.
But he repealed the act during World War II. And Jollyman has mentioned something very interesting. He said the White Witches were the ones continuing natural healing, had to be shut down, hence the witch story. That's right. That's right.
Sounds about that sounds about right. They
and
can't
when you hear about
can't have natural healing in place of big pharma, can they? Although I think I can see getting back to that though. I can see we're heading back to the point where people start using natural healing.
Well, they are now. That's right.
The amount of people I speak to now using nettle tea, for example, to get rid of allergens is unbelievable. Yes. It's brilliant.
Well, we need a show on it. We need a show on it. We really do. I think there's a need for it. And when you sit in Miles's place and you hear some of the stories of people when they come in, you just sit there and think, my godfathers, I went to the doctor and he said this is that, and Miles says, what? And personally, I think we've all got the best doctor in the world, and that is ourselves, because we know ourselves pretty good. And but now going back to Barefoot Forager, I think a heck of a lot about plants and things and natural remedies and whatever. And I believe she says this in a sarcastic way. I wonder why on earth Churchill wanted an excuse to repeal the Witchcraft Act. Yes, because witchcraft was used during World War II. There was a chap, I can't think of his name. It's gone, sorry. But he did apparently go away ceremonies or rituals or whatever, because there was a lot of stuff that went on to do with witchcraft and ghosts and things on both sides, amongst the Germans and the English, the British rather. So there's a hell of a lot that went on. But
there was a chap from America. Was it in somebody in South America or South Africa who was basically a witch doctor, and he'd healed a lot of people with the big C, and he was extradited back to America and put on trial because he'd actually saved all these people's lives. And when the judge asked him to bring in one witness that he'd actually saved from the big C, and he brought in 70 different witnesses, and then lo and behold, they put him back in prison and he died.
Doesn't surprise me. Right, I think David's having a bit of problem there with the technicalities. So
I just need him a power supply. Hang on, I'll just plug it in.
Okay, mate, I understand. Now, Alice Gorgeous. Miles is fabulous. Yes, I would like to say he is my doctor. and I'm very, very lucky to have him as my doctor, because he's qualified enough to be called a doctor. Now, are we ready, David?
Yep. Okay, so let's give this a go. So,
How are we going to do it? Are we going to go
well,
through?
yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's get it go. Let's do a quick test first because I was going to go into like the
Okay.
setup of what happened, but let's. So if I'm gonna try this through VLC. So if I now am going to go to screen share. I don't know what you do your side. I'll just press screen share. Let's see. Is it? Does it? Oh right. Apparently I'm sharing the screen now. Can you see? I should have VLC. You know the VLC player up. Have I pressed the wrong button? Oh,
Can't
allow.
see
Sorry, here we
it.
go. Select window or screen.
Nothing has come through as I
There
can
it is.
see.
Right. Allow. Hang on. Mute also. Allow.
I think I've got
Right.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, it's come here. Right, it's coming in now. There it
Right.
is. Right, so it's there.
So fingers crossed. So what this is, if it plays, fingers crossed it will. This is a let's just play the first few seconds. So this is how. So basically, when you all meet up, and here's an interesting thing of what happened. So before I got this invite, as I said, from the head of the Spiritualist Church guy, did a UFO talk, phoned me up it's about 6 months later, and said, "Do you want to come to a certain special closed meeting, all very cloak and dagger sort of thing?" And I thought, well, then they're not going to rape and bug me around the corner anywhere because it's a spiritualist church. So, but it was very cloak and dagger in the way didn't know the address, and what also had to happen in the first place is, which made it even more cloak and dagger, is the fact that they had to get my name first, and I had to give permission for my background, spirit, I don't know what to be. So my name, I had to give permission. I might give my full name, and then and then they was then passed on or asked to the spirit world. And then they decided if you were okay to come. I mean, it sounds like you're joining the mafia or something. It was a bit weird like that, but as I said, I trusted them, a lovely bunch of people. Then that was all okayed. And turned up at this house, very working class house for Harrogate's a very rich area. Hotels, lots of tourists, and lovely sort of area for sort of Yorkshire. And turned up at this house, and essentially what happens? You go into a room. It's all been black. There's a special room put aside for this. It's a terraced house, and they blacked out the windows. It's like something from World War II. Blackout everywhere. Curtains, blackout curtains. And then just obviously a light on for the start so you go in, then a red light is put on. And then essentially what happens is you sit down, and for them they played Yorkshire brass band music, and that was meant to get the energy going and stuff. And you'll hear this here, and I'll go into a bit more about the process, but let's just see if this plays.
Right,
Because what's happening here, you'll hear. So let's just.
Is it not visual? I can keep this screen on as
no. This is just audio because you're not allowed to take. You're not allowed to even take photos because again, like Helen Duncan, think about it. Like Helen Duncan, the visual stuff like flash photography, anything like that, you're not allowed to have anything like that. So you can't record. But they are allowed. The organisers, which in this case is the medium and his wife, are allowed to have an audio recorder going. So let's just see. Fingers crossed it works, right? Right. Can you hear that at all?
No.
Oh my God. You're kidding me.
No,
You see, that's strange because I've got it. Really, you think it would come through to me. It would come. It's coming through to me now, even over the speaker. So I thought you'd hear it even if it hadn't worked by the screen sharing, you'd think you'd hear it by the fact it was then broadcast through my speaker that I've got here on this laptop, and you'd hear that. Let's try one more time.
Okay. Nothing.
That's really loud, my side. Have you got nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
Oh my life!
I think that the real problem is that it's going through your speakers, but it's not going through how can you explain it?
Well,
Works here.
surely if you once you share a screen, if you share a screen, you should share all of the audio. It's not just the screen. I mean, the problem is I can't even know it sends you this audio file because it needs starting and stopping because this is a 2-hour session, and I've done time codes about when certain things happen to explain to people. Well, look, this is what's going on, and here's a funny bit, and here's another bit where something weird happens, and I think we better just come back and do this again next week.
We better do this another. We better leave this to another show.
Yeah.
And I think the best way is if you could send me the audio file, I can then do this on screen share. That'll work perfectly, like I did earlier with the YouTube thing. I think that.
Yeah, it is. But like the thing is, like I say, because it's 2 hours long, it needs stopping and starting, and that's not really your job to do that. You can do it, but it's just it's like there's about 10 stops as well. We'll find a way to do it, even if we have to do it that way.
Hang on.
We'll do it
Can't you do it the way you did it? Oh, you did. Yeah. It's strange. It was very quiet, wasn't it, when you did Michael Roll? But I can't understand why this is not.
That's no, you're right there. That's. Hang on, let's try something different. Is it because I've gone straight to?
Hold on a moment.
There's got to be a button we're missing. There's something basic missing.
There is a button that's missing here. You see, I've got screen share, but it's only visual. There's nothing for me because I can adjust the sound from this end, and it's not there for me to. So you've just sent me a picture. That's it. So you haven't seen.
Right, stop.
So that's
share screen. Well, what about this? Let's just try it from my. Let's see. Right. So I'm not going to screen share, but surely this will pick it up. Right. Tell me if you can hear this. Then. Right. Wait. It's going to be. Can you hear that?
No.
Oh
you
my
just,
God! Right.
You just sent the picture. That's the reason I couldn't hear it.
No, but I've turned. I've turned all that off. I've stopped screen sharing. What I tried to do then is I'm playing it loud on my laptop, and just as it's picking up my voice, I don't know why it's not picking up because I can hear it. Why it should, just as you're now hearing my voice, why is it not now picking up when I press play on VLC? It's really loud because this is when.
Yeah, and also,
anyway.
But in my sound studio here, I've got because I've got volume controls here, and there's no controls at all just for that. All I had was the picture, no volume controls.
Is it possible that the mic on your laptop is a noise cancelling one where it takes out the background noise? So if you're if you're in a conference call, for example, you wouldn't necessarily want to hear the workmen who are knocking your house down, sort of effing and blinding while you're having a conference call.
Yeah.
So it could be that possibly the mic is whatever I just said, I've forgotten.
No, I think you're right. But
We'll
I think one way it would work.
We'll try sending it again. I'll see if I get any sound.
Well, I might. Let's just try so. Right, hang on. Blah blah. Let's try. So right. I've got select window or screen. Right. So it says that. Right. Why don't I just go for this? Hang on. Let's try private restream Firefox. So let's try that. Hang on. I'm trying something different. Let's just try allow. You're sharing Firefox. Well, what about now? Let's just try this. So right. So let's go again.
Share screen. Right. Okay. I can go into that. Now, I'm going to allow you to see the screen. That's okay there.
Did you hear? You heard nothing, did you? I can tell you heard nothing. Yeah, I've just tried something totally. I tried then to not select VLC the video. I tried to just share my whole screen, and I thought that would then allow it to play. And it's still, if you can't hear that now,
no. Nothing.
If you can't hear,
I'm not techie in any way, shape, or form, but I'll take you haven't got a headset that you could put the mic near to the speaker. I don't know if that would work. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could put a headset on, but the microphone. Then I don't know. Then you've got to be able to hear me as well. So that will cut out myself, won't it? If I do that, I suppose. I don't know.
Again, they can be then often noise cancelling.
I vote. I'd rather have it working well because it's some of it's quite detailed and I've spent about 3 hours a day cleaning up all these files because it's obviously it's done in a room and there's a bit of clattering. And what's interesting is the way that the medium communicates with this spirit, which is the spirit leader is called Red Cloud, and he was, and it's a bit cliche, he was a Red Indian before, but you'll hear that he knew all sorts of stuff about me on my first meeting there, and it goes through some of that. But the way he communicates with the medium in the house is by a chair that's rocking. So the spirit actually controls this like it's like a chair, and as it rocks, they go A, B, C, D, E, F. So it's not actually someone that's manifesting. They tap out the letters and then they spell things out. And to hear that, it's fascinating. So I'd rather have it done instead of faffing around and messing around now.
We'll sort something out. We'll do another show. I think it's the best.
Yeah. I think so.
Thing. I think that's the answer because this is a great show. I'm really enjoying every minute of it. But something which is I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about this, and that is about demons. And Jeremy Winsky hopefully is coming on again, and Helen's coming on. And when a person dies, what happens if they're demonically possessed? Does the demon go to another person? Where does it go? Anybody understand? I don't know. That's something I haven't looked at. I'm going to ask Helen that when she comes on the show. So anybody in chat knows what happens to the demon when someone dies? Because I think that demon is out looking for some other poor sod to infest, you know.
So do you think, is it possible that the demons are the reason why people commit suicide?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because
Yeah. Absolutely.
it can't be anything else. Because if you, I don't know, I suppose life has to be pretty bad to consider doing that in the first place. But then, if that person's possessed by a demon,
Oh
then
yes,
it may not even be the
well,
person in control of what they're doing.
this is what we talk about when Jeremy Winsky comes on, because Jeremy Winsky used to work for the American Prison Service, and he discovered that schizophrenics are actually listening to real voices, and he did scientific evidence. He can prove it that they do, but you know that doesn't go with the shall we say the standard scientific religion. But Alice Gorgeous has asked you a question, David. He says, "Has David got his own channel?"
I've got Rumble and YouTube with all my stuff on it, but mostly I'm a bit of a slack bastard, so no, I haven't got my own channel in that sort of sense. Oh, I have got. If you mean Telegram, yeah, I've got my. It's called Novel Contact and High Strangeness. So you're welcome to come and join that. It's been going bloody as long as Telegram, and so yeah, Novel Contacts and High Strangeness. So Alice, you're free to come and join that, and I'll add you to it. It's a good. It's got about 80 of us, but they're a great bunch, and they've been there for a lot for the long haul with me. So yeah, come in. Novel Contact, High Strangeness. So
Novel
feel free. That's
Contact, High Strangeness. That's interesting. I might join that. But now Alice Gorgeous says, I went to a meditation circle when I was 23. My dad said, "Are you in a cult now?" So, yes. Well, I actually went along to a seance. It's no bleeding joke. This is, and the woman who was running it started laughing, so I hit her because I always like to strike a happy medium. Sorry. Right, terrible joke. Move on. But Alice Gorgeous says about
What was it?
what was it? They jumped to another person.
What was YouTube? What was your channel again? And I'll join as well.
Yeah, it's just novel contact and high strangeness. I mean, if you contact me on Paul's group or on Fockham Radio, then I can send you a link to it. But you should find it really from that. But can I say another thing about the demon and the mental illness thing?
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
Right. All right. I mean, Paul mentioned the whole thing about the demonic thing, and do demons cause suicide and stuff. And and I have not heard the Jerry Mowinski. I've heard the guy's name, but I've probably heard an interview if he's been on the, I don't know, with some of you Jeff Rents or other, but I didn't hear the interview you did. So I'm gonna dig that one out. But demonically today and voices in the head, there's now a new kid on the block, and it's since MK Ultra in the 50s, but now. And I did a talk on this at the UFO Academy last summer. It's all to do with the Marconi people who died, and basically what I found out and what I think happened with the deaths of these Marconi scientists, which of course is now happening again today with NASA scientists and stuff. But essentially what's happened, so now you get schizophrenics, people with schizophrenia who hear voices. You can get demons that then also can latch, really. I mean, you can latch on to this and make people do all sorts of things. But also, our good old boys in the intelligence agencies, and believe me, from my research, Britain is as way up as America. The other place is Sweden. Interestingly, it's interesting. Sweden is a big on this, and this is called remote neural monitoring. And essentially, this is the MK Ultra thing, but it's nothing to do with that anymore. They can now make people do You know, so all these people are driving to crowds of people in Muslims
Oh
sometimes and other
yes,
people.
yes.
Yeah, they're
That's it.
driving to crowds of Christmas shoppers, and then suddenly find they shoot themselves. You know, this isn't depression and stuff like this, and all the other things. A lot of these shooters in America, but it goes even weirder than that. With the Marconi, the technology got to such a level, and that it's almost gone a bit rogue, right? This is my theory, that they got people to literally jump off bridges. As we know, we went through on Eric's show, the Marconi, where people loaded their cars up with gas cylinders. You know, all this sort of hidden their sheds and then wired to thing. And this can
Oh,
be done
committed
by
weird
pounding
suicide.
someone's head to tell them to do this.
Well,
So I'm just
there's something on my channel. Plug. Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to cut across you there.
no, that's good. No, I finished.
Yeah. There's something on my channel, my Telegram channel. You notice that we mentioned Telegram a lot, but not Facebook, because you've got to be careful, because Facebook, there's a legal thing with Facebook. Facebook is all over it. But I tend to use Telegram most of all. And there's a chap on there who said that everything now has got beeps. And the way you train a dog is with beeps. Beep, 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 beep. And I've noticed, I've been in a shop, Poundland, I think it was. And you walk around there and it goes beep, 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 beep. I think, what the bloody hell's that? What is that beeping in shops they have now? Anybody know?
You were shoplifting, Eric. Were you shoplifting alert?
Well, you know, I mean, Abbott trousers full, you know. Because I just...
It wasn't... does that supermarket do... Where you got these lazy bastards who can't even be asked to go out to the shop and get their own stuff? They have to have somebody do it for them.
No, it wasn't
is it
that. No, it's
where
Poundland.
somebody's going around the shopping trolley?
No, I was in. I think it was Poundland. I was in the shop, and you just get this
lazy bastards that can't be. That's quite funny, Anna.
And I think it's to stop shoplifting. It's a sort of a strange peep that they do. It's very weird.
What, in the pound shop?
Yeah. Well, I
think these thieves haven't really got the idea.
Pound shop in Harlow, they would be shoplifting.
It's a posh pound shop, isn't it?
A pound shop in, well, that would be like Harrods in Harlow, wouldn't it? I mean, Poundland. I mean,
I don't know Harlow. I'm guessing. I thought because it's near you, Eric. I thought it'd be posh. I don't know.
You've been there, Paul, haven't you? I mean, posh. I'd say
Harlow. Well,
not exactly.
Do you know Wolverhampton, David?
I certainly do, mate. Yeah. I know what you're saying already by that.
Harlow as like Wolverhampton, but only worse.
Oh my God! Right, that sounds almost as bad as Luton.
Oh, Luton, yeah. Well,
that's yeah. It's twinned with Luton.
Oh Jesus! I will never go to either twin place. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you got to check that your wheels are still on your car when you leave it. You know, yes, there's 4 still there. You know, you get free house brick though underneath each wheel. But Barefoot Forager, I think the check's in the post from David. Isn't that right? She said David's channel is extraordinary. I've had my mind.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Bless you, Mrs. Forager. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes. Here we are. Oh, here we are. I accidentally took it down. Now, Pink Planet said, not sure if demons, but if you take crappy big pharma drugs, it's going to mess you up. Yes, it does, because you're actually taking oil-based things, which are not right for us.
Which makes me think now. Then, we've been talking about things like statins, and that statins remove cholesterol from the body and cause dementia.
Yes.
But is it the loss of the cholesterol, or is it the actual statins themselves that cause it in the first place? Because if those big pharma drugs, that's the best word, contain demons, maybe it isn't actually. It isn't the cholesterol that's going. Maybe it's actually the tablets they're taking in the first place. I don't know.
Well, look what happens when people take things like Prozac and Effexor, all these antidepressants. Then you end up with some of them, especially on the higher doses. But certain brain states, when they take these antidepressants, they go on these shooting missions and stuff. And so imagine that. Then you've got a bit of mind control frequency going off again as well. So I mean, it's possible this mind control stuff amplifies some of these brain states that involve things like statins. We don't know, but I'm sure it is with things like what was Prozac and this other stuff. But here's one thing we mentioned, that is that some of this mind control stuff, when we mentioned demons and stuff, I believe this is now in the air for all of us, in the air, and it's just depends on what sort of brain circuits you got that you pick it up. And I believe that during COVID, am I meant to say that? I never know. I don't think they're asked about that anymore. I think they ramped up this stuff because I mentioned this before, I think, but both Jeff Rents and this guy called Cliff High, at the start, when they first rolled out the first vaccine, when they first rolled it out, both of them within a couple of days of each other, and both of them they don't listen to each other. Both of them said separately on their various radio shows that they had this message going, take the vaccine. It's really good. It works. Take the vaccine. And these both of these people, I really respect them. They're not the sort of people to just start saying stuff like that or say they invented. So I believe these things. I think they ramped up this stuff. So these frequencies all around us. So we're some of us get influenced, some of us don't. Maybe all of us are influenced in a little way, and then some of the other people they pick on and target in a bigger way of this stuff. But it's a fascinating area. But it's getting now with AI to the stage where it's highly efficient. So we've all got to be a bit aware about our own thoughts, our own these days.
Well, you got right, and
that's the.
Sorry, carry on, mate.
I was going to say, and that's the thing as well, with what you're saying about it being in the air. Does that come from things like phone? If you got people on using mobile phones, for example, they have a ringtone. Are those ringtones specifically chosen? No, I don't mean by the individual. I mean by the people who manufacture the phone in the first place, to affect how people react. So certain tunes maybe change how somebody feels, even down to things like when people have got headphones in. Does that change how people feel, and do they hear certain words? It changes their behaviour, and
all possible.
It's a very interesting topic. This it gets a lot of questions out.
It does.
Or a lot of things to be thinking about.
It certainly does, and I've been corrected here. It's not Harlow, Eric. This is Pink Planet. It's Orlo.
All right.
It's Orlo. That's the things. And now Pink Planet's gone on to say, statins bad for you. Doctors get bonuses. That's right. For how many patients on them per year? Yes, they're very good for the doctor's bank balance. Now, Barefoot Forager, I need to ask you a question here. Lavender and eucalyptus, for example, essential oil, are amazing for intrusive thoughts, psychic attack, conflict. Is it true you can eat lavender? Because I've got loads of it in my garden. And apparently,
I love it. It's a great sense. It's a fantastic sense, but I wouldn't eat it, Eric. I think you get a lot of aftertaste after that.
I think you would actually. It might get you high, man. But because I've got a lavender in my garden, it's almost 200 years old. Seriously.
Wow.
And it was actually a cutting.
You got roses. You can eat rose petals. Have you got any roses?
Yeah, got loads of them. Yeah, rose petal.
You can eat the petals.
Yeah.
I was at Leamington Spa. I've known for a while that you can eat roses. I was stood at Leamington Spa station last Tuesday, and I looked at that. They've got a little garden patch on the one end of the station, and there's loads of roses growing there. So I just kept picking the petals off and eating them.
Are they tasty?
so for me, it was a free buffet. It was brilliant.
Are they tasty, by the way?
Yeah, not lovely and sweet. Really, really nice. And you can do something with the rose hips as well. When the rose the petals have all dropped off and you get the little ball. You can do tea with them. I've never done it, but you can do a tea with them if you collect them.
Well, yeah, but
are you vegetarian? Are you a vegetarian, Anrak, or you sound like you might be a bit of a veggie?
No.
All right. Just wondered.
I used to be vegan, but I'm not anymore.
How long did that last? How long did it last? Being a vegan?
I did 5.5 years.
Wow. Did you lose weight or not?
Virtually on death.
Yeah.
No. And I was virtually on death's door towards the end.
Wow.
So
yeah,
it made me. Obviously, it's good for some people. Maybe it works for some people, but it didn't work for me. It was.
I used to be a vegan as well, and
long story.
And now I'm on a keto diet, which is virtually 100% meat. Now this is interesting because where are we? Barefoot Foreigner said, "I've got a lavender cookbook." Ooh, no, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Lavender cookbook.
Tried lavender chocolate.
I do love the smell of lavender, though.
Nathan mocked me a lot when I bought it. Yes, that's interesting. I love going around these old bookshops we get these heavily thumbed books that are years and years old. And some of the books from the 30s are very interesting. I actually, I wish I'd have got it. And there was a book in an Oxfam bookshop, and it was written in 1932. So, okay, it's published in 1932, and it predicted World War II, almost spot on. The bloke was saying,
No way.
yeah, I couldn't believe I was actually carried away reading it. I thought, hey, and this chap, it just said, I've been watching Germany, bloody, 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 blah. This is 1930, no, sorry, 1933, that was it, 19, so when Mr. H first came to power. Now, Barefoot Foreigner said, just don't cut the rose hips. They're itching powder, itchy bum. Well, they found out during World War II that the children needed vitamin C, and they found out that you got a lot of vitamin C in rose hips. But apparently it's the little pips in them that give you the 2 bob bits, because it's you can eat rose hips, but I think wild rose hips. I'm not sure about cultivated roses. But I didn't know. I mean, what do rose petals taste like, Paul? Do they?
They're nice. They're not. They're sweet, but the different colours have different taste different. So the ones on Leamington Spa Station, they've got white and a deep pinky colour one, and the deep pinky colour one is really, really sweet, really nice.
Really? I mean, so if I try before tomorrow night's show, if you see me go into a bucket, you know that no, he's eating the wrong rose. That's interesting.
That was the white one then.
That was the white one, yeah.
That was the one the cat pissed up.
I thought it was a bit salty. I tell you can eat though, which I'm going to eat tomorrow because I've got quite a few in my garden, and that is thistle cores. You got to take all the leaves off, obviously, but the actual trunk of it is edible, and that's what I'm going to have in my din-dins tomorrow.
I've not tried that yet. There was quite a few thistles on my walk to work, but I haven't been brave enough to.
Oh, we need
them down yet.
you need your gloves on and things like that, you know. But
clover, you know, the four-leaf clover.
Yeah.
The flower.
Yeah.
Well, you can eat all of that, but the flower is good for asthma.
Really?
Just don't pick it where a dog's taking a shit. Obviously, 'cause that won't be good for your health. But yeah,
it's good.
Loads of stuff, loads of things. I know Barefoot Forager knows a lot more about this than I do.
The only issue is sprayed roses.
I've been learning about this. Yes, that's the only
Apparently
thing.
Barefoot
That's
Foragers
one thing I
does that,
don't know
yes.
about these ones at Leamington.
There used to be a bloke called, was it Harry Wheatcroft was the rose person? Blue Rose said, my father bred roses. He had hundreds. Yes. Have you ever grafted a rose? That's interesting. When you graft one rose onto another, so you get 2 colours in one bush. So I've got that in my front garden.
There's no answer to that, if we're honest.
Yes, I do like to trim my bush. Yes, I do like to trim my neighbour's bush occasionally. It's quite exciting, you know. Young man.
Eric.
Yeah.
Right. So I just thought we could finish off by, because what you know about as well. We just sort of finish this off a little bit with this theme is, of course, that we have a very famous group that's from Norfolk. Yeah, because I've just been looking for the book called the Scoles Project, which is a place called is it Scoles or Skole in it's Norfolk, and they did a whole set of these sort of sittings and had all sorts of stuff happen to the point where this is if you see that. Robin Foy, he was the guy that led it. He died recently, but so he's got Witnessing the Impossible. That's the house in Norfolk where this all went off. And if you go onto YouTube, you might want to, if before we do this and cover this, so you get an idea, if you're really new to this area, go and watch the Scoles Project on YouTube. It's a free documentary. It's fantastic. There's 2 out there, I think, or 1 or 2. Or buy the book. But what happened to them was astonishing. I mean, all sorts of stuff happened, and they basically just sat in a cellar, and they sat there for a year with nothing happening, and they sat and sat and sat, and eventually then you do certain things. Basically, you sit in this darkened room, and after a year, things start to happen, and they even then got World War II newspapers began falling on the floor, old coins, messages, and stuff like this started to happen. Then they started getting full apparitions and people turning up, and it just got absolutely astonishing. So Witnessing the Impossible, that's Robin Foy, and the main book is called The Skull Project. But watch the documentary, and then you might find out. Then when I come to play next week, you might have a better idea about what's going on. You might be able to visualize it a bit more. So that's just an idea.
That's interesting, because the thing is that there was a chappie in Cambridge. I can't remember his name, but I think this was in the 70s. And he had things like keys just from nowhere, just go clang on the floor. And he had stuff from the Middle Ages being sort of thrown.
They're called Apple, APPORTS, apports, and they get them a lot. I mean, but people in Rendlesham Forest have had this happen. I think I'm pretty sure that that's not a medium or a seance type place, but people have gone around Rendlesham Forest where the UFO stuff happens. I mean, that place is a bit weird and magical anyway. And people have had these stones that land when they're doing investigations there, or just walking through, and these stones are warm. And they take them back, and these sort of things start happening, and things will materialize. But when you're starting to get newspapers from 1945 that mean something, and they land on your table and they're real, and then they tested the ink, and the ink was from 1945. So amazing stuff.
It is amazing. Now there's a chap called Hugh Dowding, and he was I always get this wrong. I say he was at Fighter Command. But somebody in chat, when I mentioned this before, said no, he wasn't. But anyway, doesn't matter. He was a senior geezer in the Battle of Britain, Hugh Dowding, and he was in the RAF, and he's brought out of retirement. He's in his 60s then, and after the war, he believed in life after death, and not only that, he believed in fairies, and he started an organisation. And remember, this bloke was a senior fella in the RAF. You wouldn't expect that. And he believed that fairies pollinate plants. Now, John Hamer, a friend of his, had a video of something and noticed there's something odd. And when they blew it up, it was an actual fairy, a flying thing. So,
totally believe it.
How comes that in Ireland they believe in the little people, and Iceland, which is a long way from Ireland, they also believe in the little people? Isn't that strange? And they actually divert roads if it's going to affect the little people. But Hachi said, "Oh, we must get this one." Said Derek O'Cora turned out to be a fraud. Oh, bleeding hell, yeah. Do you remember that? Or was it Most Haunted? I'm sorry, that show was a load of bollocks. It really was. Because I knew a real ghost hunter who said that 9 times out of 10 nothing happens. I mean, you couldn't have a television program each week.
The best ones, one of the ones I read about was about the London Underground, and Mornington Crescent was apparently a very haunted station, and the trains terminate at Mornington Crescent and then return back north, whichever end it is, north or south, whichever. And there's a siding to fit the train in whilst they allow another one to go past, and then it comes in and does its next duty. And it was back when you used to have a guard and a driver on board the London Underground services, and the driver and guard were at the front in the cab at the front, and they could hear something running through each of the carriages and slamming the doors behind them. And they knew there was nobody else on board that train apart from the driver and the guard. Apparently, a lot of drivers weren't particularly keen on parking.
That's what I'd heard. They struggled to get drivers to do that route, or whatever they call it. After that,
Yeah. Well, they reckon that was the same with the Great Train Robbery loco as well. That a lot of drivers would refuse to take that loco out because they felt it was haunted. Even though the driver wasn't killed at the time, he did die later, further down the line, as it were.
Yeah.
But a lot of drivers would refuse to take it out because it was. A few of them said they'd driven it and they could see somebody alongside them.
What about the Bethnal Green disaster? 1943, there was the Bethnal Green disaster where there was an air raid, and I can't remember. I don't know the full story of it. I may have got this wrong, but what happened is a crowd of people were coming out of the tube, because I used to use the tube stations as air raid shelters. And suddenly an anti-aircraft gun opened up, and they thought there was a raid or something, and they turned, and loads of people were trampled to death, women, children, the lot. And it's called the Bethnal Green disaster. I wonder if that's haunted as well. But now, hang on. Alice Gorgeous says, I'm getting a waft of ball. Her name is Mildew. Mildew. Sorry. But remember that one? Was it? He said something about it's someone knocking for Dick. Do you remember that? Derek, hang on. There's a noise. Yes, I think it's a woman. It's someone. She's knocking for Dick. So they all collapsed off the floor. Now, Eric should do this. Is how she actually said Eric should do a program on crop circles. There's loads about this year. And believe it or not, on Food for Thought Radio, there was a chap. What's his name now? Is it Miles Johnson? He is a crop circle. He was talking about them. I will try and get him on. Can't promise him anything. I'll try and get him on. David would be awesome on crop circles, or tell us who to get on. Yeah, I think it's Miles Johnson. Are you up on crop circles, David?
Well, I've always found them fascinating, especially ones that seem to be left by some weird ETs that are so intricate you can't possibly do them. Although here's a story I've got, one that did happen. So this is quite interesting because it actually is a link to Miles, because it was at one of Miles's events that I was traveling down to. So I used to run this site, again, UFO sort of, but this was political UFO. It's got the thing called exopolitics. So I ran the first UK site on exopolitics, and that's to do with, well, how our political parties and things like fire release, all the Nick Pope stuff on fire release. How does the UFO issue influence them, and what's this whole thing about disclosure, which I don't give a shite about these. I don't really care what the authorities want to do with UFOs. I'm so tired of it all, but that's not the point. So, and I had a certain logo, and it's this thing called, but I changed it obviously a bit of Photoshop, called the Merc bar. People know what this is like. It's meant to be the sort of spirit body or something. Merkaba symbol, very complex geometrical sort of shape. Anyway, I had this as part of the logo and had it for like 4 or 5 years on this Exopolitics UK website, right? And when on the day, so I don't live down in Cropsey Grand. This was Miles was doing an event in Wiltshire, one of his, I think, a bases event in Wiltshire, and on the day that. And you can find this now. I can find the date. I've probably lost the photo, and all my hacked and disappeared and lost computers and drives. On the day I went down, there was a huge crop circle done in a field in Wiltshire that had exactly the symbol. So on the day that I turned up, not saying it's anything to do with me, I'm just saying it's a symbol that was used then. So on the day that I turned up to do this talk, there's a huge, never been seen before, this Merkaba symbol was made on this field in Wiltshire, which I found fantastic, because it's like there's a link there between the two. The day that Miles Conference starts, I'm talking there, Exopolitics talking there, that's the theme, and then there's the crop. So I'll try and find the picture and I'll put it onto my group. I've probably got it somewhere, but yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that stunned me. So that made me think that, are these things to do with consciousness? So a lot of people were sort of thinking about, was it a conference on? Are these thinking about the UFO issue, Miles's event, and was that human beings that then managed to get that into the crop, or was that an alien thing, or was it a government thing trying to mess with our heads? Who knows? But it's all fascinating stuff.
I think
it's interesting.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, carry on.
Interesting you say. Are there certain areas where these things turn up? And what I mean by that is, you were mentioning Wiltshire, which isn't far from Glastonbury either, which makes you wonder whether is it a certain part of the UK that gets them? And is it to do with ley lines?
Ley line. Yeah, but also why did
and so on?
Didn't all the who the people did that man with the big penis club and all the horses, that they're all real. So our ancestors, whoever did all these, and because they found these areas like Silbury Hill, there are certain areas that just and it's the same where I moved up to this area of Hebden Bridge, Todmorden area of West Yorkshire, precisely because it had a record for this sort of stuff. It had a record going back for not just UFO stuff, but all sorts of stuff, ley lines, full of hippies here and stuff. So I think there's certain areas that have that. And the one thing is that just like Barefoot Forestry was saying, that scaffolding and shitty buildings, carbuncles, as Prince Charles called, that all these they shut down these energy fields. Might not be ley lines, but the overall energy of a place gets shut down by crap architecture. fat people, inner cities filled with fucking scummy idiot gangsters, right? And you lose all that stuff. And that's why you go mad in cities, right? And that's why you have to get out.
Oh, you're spot on. I hate cities. I loathe cities. Yeah, people say, "Why don't you go to London?" I keep away from London. I can't stand the place. And I think that this is why I think it's unnatural, cities are. And I think it does turn people loopy. I really do.
Yeah.
And now, Barefoot Foreigner says, my neighbour refers to me as a herbal drug dealer because I'll push free medicine on anyone. Now,
I think wrong with pushing that.
Sorry?
I said there's nothing wrong with pushing free medicine.
I 100% agree. And I think that's why they have been, they refer to women as witches because it's that in those days, I think they were anybody that went against the system, they didn't like. But now Sam has said it was very interesting. Please, Eric. Yes, I'll try and get Miles Johnson on the show. I can only try. But luckily I can contact him and so I can pull a few. I know someone that can pull a few strings. So
Chris,
I'll be able to, yeah.
Yeah, there's another person you could ask Miles to get in touch with called Matthew Williams, and because what's interesting is he doesn't do many interviews, but Miles knows exactly who he is. They still do work together at conferences. But Matthew Williams was the first person arrested for making a crop circle, and he did it, and he did a pair of Y fronts. He wanted to prove that crop circles could be made by men. So I think a TV company paid him. It might be a different one, but he did one. It was a pair of Y fronts. You can find it. I think the Daily Mirror covered it. This is going back to like 1988 or something. But yeah, he did a pair of Y fronts as a joke as a crop circle. It was pretty bad, but I mean, it's proved that you could do it with stamping down with boards and stuff.
Right.
So he'll come on. He's quite interesting to talk to.
But it must have cost a couple of nigger. But no, I was going to say is, but the real crop circles, the actual stalks are burnt from the inside.
Yeah.
But the fake ones are pushed down. That's the way you tell the difference.
Well, Miles was on Paul's show. Paul got Miles on a couple of days ago. I can't remember.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
Miles,
I don't know. It was on Thursday, and I was actually on
right,
that show. Yeah.
Well, right. Well, you might have heard then that Miles said no, that's not, and it is. He said no, that's not that. Or he said all crops do that anyway, and they all do bend with nodes. But Miles has missed the point. They bend all at a certain point from the electromagnetics of the crop circle being created. I don't know why Miles has gone down that route. I mean, Miles is wacky. He believes in ants fighting on Mars and all sorts of stuff, and now he doesn't believe in crop circles. It just gets a bit. It's insane. This scene is mental, honestly. Never mind.
Well, I'm trying to find someone else who's. Is there someone who's all authority on it, on crop circles? Because it'd be nice to get them on. Because I do think that, as with anything that governments meddle in, they tell you some truth and some lies. It's a bit like UFOs. I think that governments have got in on it. And when you think about it, aliens from the planet, I don't know, Plop, would they come here knowing we have governments? Because advanced civilizations wouldn't have government. It's only dimwit civilizations that have governments.
Well, can you imagine a UFO turning up in Harlow? Let's step off of the. Hang on a sec, lads. No. Let's go back home. This place is a right shithole. Let's go.
Hang on a minute. We can't take off. Hang on. It's bloody hell. We ain't got to land. Is this some chewing gum?
It's on bricks.
Well, they come out and say, no, there's no intelligent life around here.
Yeah.
What's this? Now, where are we now? Alice Gorgeous said, I had my house cleared of a seismic ley line. What? Seismic ley line? Can you expand upon that, Alice Gorgeous?
Seismic, and that's
seismic.
With like
that's
demonic energies and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Well, I was thinking where you are, David. I know obviously you're sort of on the border with like the Manchester sort of that area, aren't you?
Yeah.
Of course, the North York Moors. I reckon if that's a massive ley line because that's completely unpopulated once you get out of York. It's another area that's completely desolate until you get towards Whitby, and Whitby's renowned for being linked to witchcraft, isn't it, or
Mm.
the dark energies? Isn't
Yeah,
Whitby supposed to be linked to that?
yeah, Whitby. Yeah, that's why they have the goth festivals once a year there. So all the witch the
Yeah,
black goths who go up to Whitby, be the Whitby weekender it's called. Yeah, and but Whitby's also got, you know, whether you get ley lines and stuff, these energies, you know, you'll get UFOs turn up, and I don't probably crop circles and as well and stuff like that. But here's an interesting thing that happens in the, because again what you'd have found if we if we got this working is that what essentially when I turned up to this place in Harrogate, and when I got there again with this spirit person, and actually none of they knew nothing apart from my giving a talk. They knew nothing about my life and stuff. But so this Red Cloud spirit leader began saying, he'd be like, well, look, I know where you've been on the Pennines. And he described the area, and all this stuff, and a lot more stuff happened about like that. But it was all linked to the fact of an area where that's got apparently high increase. This is what he said. This leader of this Red Cloud leader of this spirit scene. And there are other spirits that come in. It's not just him that's around. There's others, but he's the sort of gatekeeper of all this. But what's interesting is because I've been going there for like since 2012, 13, and I mean I've got other footage. I've also got all these light craft turning up, showing flares going off, zipping in and out of windmills, and that's the point, zipping out of windmills. So I've got loads of footage of all that stuff, and that was linked to what he was saying about the activity of what he called the star. He called them, so we call them UFOs or light craft. He called them, they're the star people. But what's interesting, the area where I had all this and had it filmed since 2012, they suddenly started hammering with roadworks leading up to it, you know, and then windmills began getting increasingly put up. They did a whole new building thing, and none of this was planned before. And I'm not saying they've done that I'm saying that it wouldn't surprise me if they stick up these bloody windmills and these wind farms to disrupt energy zone. So all these craft were flying over. These are plasma esoteric light craft. And suddenly the place began filming. This is over. Well, I was there for a decade, and by now, if I showed you before and after pictures, they've put electric boxes, all sorts of stuff there, and laid the whole thing with this lovely, lovely area of Yorkshire, the Pennine area. It's like Anorak said, it's between we're more it's more Lancashire, Yorkshire, sort of that crossover area. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they can destroy these good energy zones that we have on this planet and these nice places by putting things like, who wants windmills? And apparently, here's another interesting point with windmills to do, again, frequencies. Think about what I said with the whole remote neural monitoring brain stuff. That windmills were designed, it's a bit like broadband was designed at this whatever whatever gigahertz thing, isn't it? That our routers were designed. Some of the worst things for your body and blood. It just so happens they managed to choose that one. Apparently, windmills on the blades have, when they spin, give off one of the most disruptive frequencies to the human mind, which is why some people that are a mile away can't sleep. Some really sensitive people can't sleep, and you think, well, is that an accident or not? So I think there's some nefarious stuff going on with the way they build stuff. You know, we get good architecture, like lovely cathedrals, and then we get shit architecture and shit windmill farms, and it wouldn't surprise me if they put them in certain areas that they know. You know, MI5 probably know about these. They know about these areas and what's going on. And,
I agree with you.
and,
I agree with
yeah.
you. I think there's something odd. I mean, what gets me is I know it gets up my bleeding ooter. Is that heap of crap in where is it now? It was the architect. It was in Hammersmith. And the architect was Udo Goldfinger, an architect that left this country up big time. It's an eyesore. And it's grade 2 listed. And if I ever become a senior person in this country, the first place I'd dynamite would be that bloody building. I hate it. Sorry. So,
well, I think it's quite interesting you were saying about those windmills. They obviously, and I've said this before on your show before, Chris, that you never see a cable going from those wind turbines to the national grid. And especially when you get the ones out in the sea, well, there are no pylons for them to connect to there, and you never see any cabling coming from the ocean back out into land. So it makes you wonder whether they're just, I mean, if they're there to catch the breeze, they're the thinnest blades out there. Yet the old traditional windmill that used to be used to make flour had massive sails on it, basically to catch as much breeze as is possible.
I agree with you.
So when you think about it, this thing with those wind turbines, they're not designed to catch the wind at all, are they? So yeah, it makes you wonder whether that's actually what they're there for. They're certainly not there to. generate energy.
Also, why for once, since they put all these bloody wind farms, why for once couldn't they go? Right now it's so successful, your electric bill's going to go down. Never happens, does it? Never happens. You just think, right, if it's that good, and suddenly you've got some extra generating power that's not coal and whatever else. It's just like, give us some effing money back. Anyway, it doesn't happen.
Do you know?
Also, do you not think it's?
Sorry, Cameron, mate.
Do you not think it's interesting? We've had this massive heat wave over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Well, if they believe that all this getting rid of coal and getting rid of diesel and petrol and all this sort of stuff is supposed to lower the climate change nonsense, well, how come we've had the hottest summer that we're having the hottest summer we've had for many, many years? So it goes to prove once and for all that everything they've told us is a load of bollocks, isn't it? Basically, because surely it should be getting cooler, and it ain't.
You're spot on, absolutely spot on. And Barefoot Foreigner says, if anyone fancies a Fockham Hall trip to the Crop Circle Museum in Wiltshire, that would be fun. Yes, it would be, wouldn't it? Really? Yes. And mind you, yeah, that sounds quite a good idea, doesn't it? Middle of the country, roughly, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it says here.
Just don't end up in Swindon.
By the way, most people in the awakening movement seem to be dyslexic, like us. Well, do you hear about the dyslexic pimp that bought a warehouse? Sorry.
I don't get it.
It's funny. My auntie went to Whitby years ago. This is Baby with a Laser. I'd never been, so asked her to describe it. She said, if aliens ever landed, it would be there. No idea what she meant. Is it a weird place?
It's a very random place. It's literally on its own. There's no other civilization around it. It has got a rail line. There's a rail line into there, and you get a random bus service between Middlesbrough and Scarborough that go via that route, but it literally is on its own. It's nowhere near anywhere else.
A bit like Royston in Hertfordshire, we mentioned earlier. That was sort of on its own. There's nowhere near it. When you went out of Royston in any direction, it was just countryside. There's nothing, and you had to go quite a few miles. It's not like that now so much, But the other thing is this thing that Tesla made, where he could contact the dead. Have you heard of that? Where you make this. And apparently you can make it out of household items, because there was a race on between Tesla and the other geezer to try and contact the dead. Has anybody heard of that?
Yeah, it's Tesla and the gramophone guy. I forgot his name now. I know you mean. What?
Edison. Edison, was it? Thomas Edison.
Edison. Yeah. That's well, Edison was well into all that stuff, but of course they didn't get on because Edison ripped Tesla off for a lot of stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, you can to contact the spirit thing. It's again, it wasn't really my thing, but you can do something, and I forgot. There's a certain really simple circuit you can do. It uses a diode. I'll find it for next time. You can literally build one of these things, and it amplifies stuff around. And it's I think Tesla or Edison made that, so that might be the thing that you're on about.
That's the thing.
Other than that.
Here we come. We're saying goodbye to Food for Thought Radio now. It's all right. We're still carrying on YouTube and Rumble.
I'm going to shoot off if you don't mind, and I'll go and try and put this together for next week.
Okay. Thanks, David, for joining us.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it.
And
nice to chat to you again.
Yeah, and you take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a great evening.
Anyway, we'll carry on for a little while. Until with Food for Thought Radio. It's been a very fast 2 hours, hasn't it?
It has. So the time's speeding up. It really is.
It is. Anyway,
I don't know how they're actually managing to do it. That's the thing.
Well, there's something.
You have been listening to Fockham Hall with Eric Von Essex. Remember, whatever you do, have a bloody good laugh.
Precisely.
There's nothing quite like the smell of fresh bread. It fills your home with warmth and comfort.
That's good. I'm pleased about that. Anyway.
That was a matter of life and death, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's used his lope, hasn't he? But no, actually, since I've given up eating wheat, I feel a lot better. And you can still make your own bread, but not from wheat. You can do it from anything, really. Flax seeds, lentils. But anyway, I'm going off at a tangent. But I think that crop circles and the esoteric is of great interest to the audience. So I think we definitely need another program coming up on this. What is coming up soon is Jeremy Lewinsky. I'm hoping to get him back. And I've been in touch with Dom. Thank you very much. Mike, a gentleman called Mike, contacted me on my behalf. So he may be coming on the show soon to promote his book. So there's quite a lot coming up. But I would like to, I should put it this way. I'd be tempted to make one of those Tesla devices. But the big problem I find is that I think you've got to be very careful because you can open up portals and let anything in. And after what I went through in my family, no way. And I wouldn't go to a seance either. I'd be frightened there as well. Even with professionals, I'd still be frightened that you're letting something in that you shouldn't, because if you've actually experienced, as I say, a demonic possession, it's horrendous. Anyway, I think that I'm feeling pretty worn out tonight because I only had a couple of hours kept last night. And shall we sort of sign off? Because I think you have to get up early tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm up early in the morning, back to work.
At work. That was it. Work is was it the scourge of the drinking classes? That was, who said that now? It was
the four-letter word that begins with W and ends in K.
That's right. And actually, the screen has changed itself without me doing anything. How weird! That is really weird, isn't it? It sounds like it, doesn't it? Here we go. Let's switch it back again. Oh, it's gone. There we go. That's weird. Anyway, tomorrow night we're doing a show. Not quite sure who's on tomorrow. It might be an open mic evening, or we could do one about herbal remedies. We don't know. Or we could do one about what's going on behind the scenes in government. Who knows? But anyway, Paul, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to tell the audience before we go.
Just thank you for listening as always, and have a good evening all.
Well, thanks to David and thanks to yourself, mate, for coming on. I think it's been a bloody good show myself.
It has.
And
it's gone quick though.
It certainly has. Please consider subscribing. Shove the old thumbs up. And if you feel generous, I'd like to thank everybody that's bought me a coffee. People have bought me a coffee, and it's really, very kind. Thank you, everyone that has. And whatever happens,